Hi everyone, and welcome to this video tutorial. In this clip we're going to be completing Lab 13 Task 4, and that is adding an RDM or a raw device mapping volume into one of our guest operating systems. The idea, once again, with an RDM, as we discussed in class, we might actually have some storage out on the network that we need to access from one of our guest virtual machines, and accessing that via a VMDK is not the best way to go. So before we start off and look at what happens afterwards, I'm going to actually deviate from the script here a little bit and take a look at what we have beforehand. So I've already, we're going to be using our -2 VM for this. I've already logged into it through the console, and what I'm going to do is pull up disk management so we can see what we have so far. So I'm just going to look in administrative tools, computer management. Make this a little bit bigger so that we can see what's going on. And if I select disk management, we'll see that we've got one disk at this point in time, our C drive. This is being represented as that VMDK file that we have sitting out on our storage when the VM was created. Now I'm going to go back over onto vCenter, and I'm going to edit the settings for our virtual machine. So I'll say, go ahead and edit the settings. And I'm going to be adding in a new device onto the virtual machine. So I'm going to select a new device. You can see the different devices we have available, and up here at the top is all of our storage. It can either be a new hard disk, create a new VMDK file. We can be an existing hard disk, meaning connect to an existing VMDK file, or I can do an RDM disk, which will allow my guest operating system to see this and put an NTFS partition on it, that kind of a thing, directly onto the LUN that's being presented out off of our block storage. So I'll pick this guy. So I want to add that in. As soon as I say add, it's going to come up and say, what LUN do you want to grab? In this case, I've only got one available. That's LUN 3. So this is one of those iSCSI targets that we had set up way back when we were working in Lab 6 or 7, whatever it was. I'll just pick this and say go ahead and select that, and we can see that this is now in. It's 5 gigabytes in size. I can't change the size of this because it's actually the storage server that is dictating what the size is going to be. Say OK. It's going to be reconfiguring my virtual machine, and once that's finished, then that storage is going to be available to the guest operating system. Going to select back over here onto my guest. We can see now that we've got disk 1, so we got this extra disk added in. Here's my C drive. This is basically unallocated space. If I want to, I can right click this, initialize it, and we will now have unallocated space available. At this point in time, if I want to, I can create a new partition, go through that process, and then install or create an NTFS file system, and that storage will now be available to Windows as a guest operating system. Again, the difference is I'm not working with a VMDK file on the storage that's being managed by vSphere. Instead, I'm directly accessing a LUN that's being presented out from my storage array. Anyway, it's that easy. We now have added in our RDM so that we can access that from the guest if we need to. That's a wrap for this particular video. Hopefully this was helpful for you, and we'll see you next time.